Good day, my name is Katharina Lindsay. My team and I are here to present to you today to boost your awareness on safety in the workplace. So you will be hearing from the rest of my team, which is Tavine Vernon, Daniel Mackenzie, Tudian Lee Frey, and Pethrina Broderick. This presentation is for both visual and audible impaired. Also, this presentation will be provided electronically to all staff to rewatch or re-listen. The agenda for today is that we will be identifying hazards, safety, and you, steps to minimize hazards, reporting incident and injury, emergency and evacuation procedures, up-to-date and readily accessible safety information, risk assessment and control procedures, participative arrangements for managing health and safety risks, identifying and existing potential hazards, and monitoring health and safety records to meet legal requirements. Now, what is a hazard? Do you know what's a hazard? A hazard is anything that can cause risk or danger. Types of hazards that may be in your workplace are psychosocial hazard. Now, this is a work-related stress that may lead to your mental or emotional breakdown or harm. Now, this may be caused by long hours, low recognition of how you're doing your work or how you're performing your work, workplace bullying, such as harassment, gender discrimination, or workplace politics. We know it exists. And maybe work overload. You have too much tasks to do at once and it becomes overbearing. Another type of hazard that has been identified is ergonomics hazard. And these are risk factors that may cause wear and tear on your body. And these may cause injuries. So if you're sitting in an awkward position or lifting something in an awkward position, it may hurt you over time. You may experience musculoskeletal disorders, which are like carpal tunnel syndrome, rotator cuff injuries. This may affect your shoulders, trigger finger. This is when you're unable to bend your fingers. And just sitting too long is another ergonomics hazard. It's recommended that you remove from your desk or area for every hour and maybe walk around for 5 minutes and then return to your desk. Mechanical or chemical hazards is another type of hazard that has been identified. And mechanical hazard arise from relative movements between parts of the body and a work object or equipment, which may lead to an accident or risk. The electrical hazards are risk associated with electronic or electricity that may result in damage of equipment or the work property. So this could be examples of these are short circuits, fire, slips and falls, and entanglement of cords, electric cords. Safety and you. Who does safety begins with? Safety begins with you. It is important that you be responsible about your own safety as well as keeping others in mind. Now, there are a few steps to minimize hazards and risks, which are to first identify hazards and develop strategies for overcoming these hazards, eliminating the hazard, changing the equipment or materials, like changing out the chairs, which may have an effect on person's back while working, changing work methods, how you do things, how you put persons on shift, using PPE, those are your personal protective equipment, and this is usually the last resort. The use of risk controls to analyze the workplace is another step as well, and that is very important. Now, it is important to report incidents or injury, and some details must be included when writing up an incident report. These would include details of the incident, the parties involved in the incident, the place of the incident, date and time of the incident, and also to take note of any damages to the property or injuries to the parties involved, and also witnesses. Now, this is an example of an incident form. Now you can see the date, the employee's name, and maybe the department you are in, as well as the details of the incident, witnesses that may be there, and so on, who the person reports to.
Emergency and evacuation procedures. Earthquake. Drop. Stop whatever you're doing. Get down. Get low. Cover. Crouch under a sturdy desk or chair. Hold. Hold on to something sturdy once the initial shaking stops. Commence the evacuation process. Leave the building in an orderly manner using the safest or nearest exit. Ensure doors are closed, not locked, with keys. Move purposefully to the nearest or designated assembly point. Wait for a head count to be conducted. In case of a flooding, move immediately to higher grounds or stay on high ground. Continue to check the media for emergency information. Follow instructions from public safety officials. If advised to evacuate, do so immediately. If you must evacuate or are traveling during flooding, remember, do not walk through flooding waters. Most drowning occurred during flash floods. 6 inches of. In case of a fire, activate the building's alarm system in the event that the electronic alarm system is inoperable. Raise an. How to implement improvements to ensure safety information remains up to date. 1. Establish and maintain plan and routine inspections.
Identified hazards and the outcome of risk assessment procedures. Now, in this case, we're talking about the hierarchy of controls. There are 5 levels of the hierarchy: elimination, substitution, engineering control, administrative controls, and PPE.
Elimination is the best and most effective way of controlling hazards. For example, using a wet floor sign to begin with, so to prevent falls. Also, to not overload sockets with devices while charging, so to prevent a fire. The substitution stage or control is like replacing one hazard with something less hazardous. For example, like a milder scented chemical that may cause fatigue or dizziness. Engineering controls are methods that will remove the hazard at the source, so you're separating workers from the hazard by distancing them or with the use of barriers. Administrative control does not necessarily remove or reduce the hazard from the workplace, but example, these would be like restricting access to a work area or using signs to warn workers of any hazard. And in the administrative step or the administrative control, it must be used with another control listed in the pyramid.
Number 5, PPE, personal protective equipment, where you have your hard boots, your face mask, your gloves, and your eyewear. Promote effective participative arrangements in managing health and safety risks. To establish and maintain effective and complaint participation in arrangements for health and safety. These include preparing employees for introduction of health and safety before work, selecting of employees or candidates for upgrade in workplace health and safety knowledge and skills, monitoring compliance of employees, monitor and evaluate procedures for identifying existing and potential hazard. Here are some top 3 ways to identify hazards. 1. Conduct regular work site inspections, walk through the work site and visual access the type of equipment, work practice, and any potential hazard that could harm to workers. Interview workers and managers, create a hazard map. Now we're going to talk about monitoring records for OHS for the workplace to meet legal requirements. Establish an active workplace safety and health safety committee. Make daily safety inspections part of the employee's job. Keep employees informed about safety inspections during an injury and illness statistics and other safety related issues. Give everyone a meaningful activity that support safety. Now we have come to the end of our presentation. Any questions?